A city made of glass and paintings that breathe. These stories are descriptions of my dreams, which I only started recording relatively recently. In the past few months, my dreams have become so vivid and lifelike that sometimes, upon waking, I can't tell for a long time where reality ends and the dream begins. Sometimes they are just colorful fantasies, sometimes deep dives into the subconscious, and sometimes something completely absurd and astonishing. I decided it would be interesting to share this with you. Perhaps someone will find something familiar or meaningful to themselves in these dreams. My name is Aleksei Smirnov, but many people just call me Alex, and I'm used to analyzing and understanding people. But my own dreams sometimes leave me at a loss. Today was a strange day. Clients canceled their appointments, and in the evening the internet suddenly went out, which prevented me from holding my planned webinar. I went to bed early, a bit upset and tired, and immediately fell into a deep sleep. I dreamed that I found myself in an unusual place here, a huge old building with endless corridors, dimly lit halls, and mysterious doors leading into the unknown. The walls were completely covered with paintings that seemed to have a life of their own. The characters moved, talked to each other, and some even tried to leave their frames. I walked down one of the corridors, feeling the gaze of the paintings on me, and each step echoed loudly. Suddenly, a sharp sound rang out. One of the paintings tore itself from the wall and fell right in front of me, shattering to pieces. Shards of glass and bright splashes of paint scattered across the floor like living creatures. From behind the shattered frame, the hand of one of the characters reached out to me. It was a woman in an old-fashioned dress with frightened eyes. She was desperately trying to get out, as if pleading for help. Without thinking twice, I grabbed her hand, feeling warmth and the real pulse. At that moment, the walls began to tremble. The corridor started to fill with a strange fog, and from the other paintings came screams and voices filled with anxiety and despair. We rushed to run together down the corridor, weaving between the paintings, which were now coming to life and trying to stop us. I could clearly feel the character's fear pulsing in her palm, and I realized that I had to help her escape this nightmare. We turned the corner and found ourselves in a huge hall filled with mirrors from floor to ceiling. In each mirror, the corridor we had just run through was reflected. But in every reflection, it looked different, as if each one was a glimpse into a different reality. The woman stopped in terror, gripping my hand tightly, and pointed at one of the mirrors. In it, the reflection of some creature appeared, a huge shadow slowly approaching us from the depths of the mirrored corridor. I grabbed the nearest object, a small statuette that was sitting on a table nearby, and hurled it forcefully at the mirror. It cracked, and for a moment complete silence fell over the hall. But then all the mirrors began to crack and shatter, their fragments hanging in the air as if in slow motion, reflecting thousands of our anxious faces. We started running again, trying not to touch any of the shards as we pushed our way toward the massive door at the end of the hall, behind which, I believed, freedom awaited. Finally, reaching the door, I grabbed the heavy bronze handle and pulled it. Creaked as it gave way, opening inward. Beyond the door stretched an endless garden, bathed in a gentle golden light. But as soon as we stepped inside, the woman suddenly vanished right from my arms, leaving behind only cold air and a faint scent of perfume. I stood there, not understanding what had happened, when I heard footsteps behind me. Turning around, I saw a figure shrouded in shadow, the very same one that had pursued us through the mirrors. It was slowly approaching, reaching out its hands as if trying to say something. I stood frozen, unable to move, feeling fear tighten its grip on me. But suddenly, a bright light flashed before me, like a bolt of lightning, blinding me and pushing the shadow back. In that light, the same woman appeared again. Now her eyes were calm and confident. She smiled at me and quietly whispered, "Thank you. Now I am free." Then she slowly faded into the air, leaving behind only a shimmering golden mist. The light began to fade, and the garden around me gradually sank into darkness. I stood in the middle of the vanishing garden, feeling a strange sense of peace, mixed with an inexplicable longing. Slowly, everything around me was once again enveloped in darkness, and I felt myself waking up, returning to my own reality. At that moment, I woke up. My heart was pounding wildly. I sat in the darkness of my bedroom, trying to comprehend what had just happened. My heart was still racing, and I felt the urge to pull myself together. I got out of bed, carefully stepping onto the cool floor, and headed to the bathroom. Turning on the water, I washed my face, feeling the cool freshness bring clarity back to my mind. Then, in the kitchen, I drank a glass of water, slowly glancing at the clock. The hands showed 3 o'clock in the morning. The air was quiet and thick with the silence of the night. And once again, lying in bed, I closed my eyes, gradually drifting off to sleep. It was as if I was sinking into a warm velvety sea of sleep, where my consciousness gently dissolved, giving way to new images. Falling asleep again, I found myself in a different place on the shore of a boundless ocean. The air was salty, and the waves whispered something mysterious and soothing. I noticed clearly defined footprints on the damp sand, as if someone had just walked by. They were human, a little smaller than mine, neat and even. Looking around, I saw no one nearby, only the gentle waves of the ocean washing over the shore. Curiosity overtook me, and without thinking, I followed the footprints, which confidently led straight into the water. As I approached the water's edge, I expected to feel the chill and dampness, but to my surprise, I kept walking as if there were an invisible solid surface beneath my feet. The water felt slightly springy and yielding, gently swaying beneath my feet, reflecting the glimmers of the moon and stars, as if the living surface of the ocean had become my ally and allowed me to walk on it without fear. Far ahead, right on the horizon, a crystal clear city shone, built directly on the water. Its buildings were made of a transparent material, resembling glass or crystal, and each structure seemed like a reflection of the starry sky, shimmering with delicate shades of blue, lilac, and gold. Between the towers and domes, glowing spheres floated, slowly moving through the air and creating the effect of a living illumination for the city. I noticed that some of these spheres, as if they were living beings, moved with awareness and intention, circling around the buildings and exploring the space around them. The city was surrounded by a light mist, which gave the entire landscape a dreamlike unreality, while the tall towers and arches were connected by elegant bridges that resembled thin strands of spiderweb, sparkling in the gentle light of the stars and the moon. Suddenly, I saw a figure on one of the bridges, a silhouette standing there, looking straight at me, as if expecting my arrival. My heart began to beat faster, and I quickened my pace, eager to find out who was waiting for me in this mysterious and magical city. As I came closer, I saw that it was a girl dressed in a light, semi-transparent garment that resembled mist. Her hair swayed gently, as if it were part of the wind itself. Her eyes glowed with a deep and warm radiance, full of kindness and tranquility. Silently, she reached out her hand to me, inviting me to follow her. I took her hand, and we moved further along the bridge, which seemed to lead into the very heart of the city. Glowing orbs floated around us. Some of them hummed softly, as if conversing with each other. The girl did not speak, but her presence filled me with an amazing sense of peace and trust. Suddenly she stopped and pointed to a tall tower that rose above all the other buildings. The tower glowed especially brightly and seemed to be the heart of the entire city. At that very moment, I felt that someone was calling my name. The voice sounded familiar, but I couldn't tell who it was. The girl smiled, as if she understood everything without words, and slowly let go of my hand, leaving behind a feeling of lightness and weightlessness. The light began to intensify, filling everything around with a radiance in which the girl's figure gradually dissolved, leaving me alone in the middle of this extraordinary city. At that moment, I woke up for the second time, this time for good. My heart was beating rapidly, but not anxiously. Rather, it was like, after a long run, or a strong emotional experience, when you still don't know whether you should be afraid or just breathe more deeply. I sat up in bed, ran my hand over my face, and felt dampness at my temples and warmth on my skin. It was beginning to dawn outside the window. The grey-blue dawn was slowly creeping into the room. I gazed into that cold, almost inert sky and wondered what city it was, why it was so beautiful and seemed to be waiting for me. Why did the silent girl make me feel as if I was remembering something, but couldn't quite grasp what it was? Why did the one who called to me seem so familiar? Even though I never saw the face, the feeling wasn't alarming, but strangely profound, as if the dream had left not a trace, but a crack I wanted to peer into. What was that city? Why did the figure from the painting try to grab my hand? I began to ponder what I had seen, and suddenly realized everything that happened in the dream was not by chance. These were not just fantasies, but a true inner journey, full of symbols, sensations, and revelations. The dream seemed to nudge me toward an awareness of important processes that had been unfolding within me for some time, even though I hadn't noticed them. The first dream, where I found myself in an old building with endless corridors, resembled a descent into the deepest levels of my unconscious. These corridors and dimly lit halls were like my inner memories, experiences, fears, and repressed parts of my personality. The entire space resembled the storage place for everything I once suppressed, didn't allow to surface, or forgot. Particular attention was drawn to the paintings, which came to life and tried to break out of their frames. These are symbols of my inner images, roles, and memories. They live their own lives because I hadn't noticed them for a long time, but now they want to be heard. When one of the paintings shattered and a woman's hand reached out from it, that became the turning point of the dream. The woman is my inner feminine aspect, the anima, the part of me that is sensitive, creative, and intuitive. Perhaps it is my soul or a forgotten emotion. I helped her get out, and by doing so, I began the process of healing. The appearance of the Hall of Mirrors was an amazing symbol. The mirrors reflected not only the space, but also my inner versions of reality. And when they were broken, it was the destruction of illusions, old models of perceiving oneself and the world. The creature that watched us through the mirrors is my shadow. That part of me that I don't want to see. I didn't fight it, but I destroyed its hiding place. That's already a step toward liberation. Then, a garden, full of light. We almost made it out, but the woman disappeared. This meant that I had freed my anima, but she is not yet fully integrated. Still in the process. The second dream was contrasting calm, bright, like an upward movement. It became a continuation of the first. I found myself on the shore of the ocean, where I saw footprints leading into the water. Following them, I began a journey across the water, a symbol of trust, transition, and intuitive path. I walked without sinking, as if my steps were supported by something greater than physical logic. Ahead, a city on the water, made of crystals and light. It felt like the highest realm of my psyche, perhaps the place where my soul resides. The city was alive, conscious, gentle, warm, and everything in it breathed harmony. There, I met a girl, the same figure as in the first dream, but now she was calm, radiant. This was the anima, already healed. We walked through the city together. She silently led me, and I trusted her completely. This feeling of trust and calm was healing in itself. When we approached a tower that shone especially brightly, she let go of my hand. There was something very important in this. It was as if she gave me freedom and independence, as if she said, "Now you can go on your own." The light grew stronger, and I woke up. What did I realize? My unconscious is active and wants me to look within. It speaks to me through images I hadn't noticed before. I began the process of freeing my inner parts, especially the anima me inner sensitivity and intuition. I met my shadow not in battle, but in acknowledgement. I went through the destruction of my old perception in the mirror and emerged into a new space of meaning, a city of light. I am ready for independence on a new level, with trust in myself and in life. This is a movement from fear to wholeness, from closed rooms to a transparent city, from saving someone else to connecting with myself. These dreams were like a passage through the night of the soul into the morning of awakening, anxious, at times frightening, but so necessary. I feel deep gratitude to my psyche for finding a way to speak to me in this language, through images, symbols, cities, paintings, voices, and silence. All of this is not just a dream, but a living message. An important step on the path to inner connection and healing. The work continues, but now I move forward not with anxiety, but with respect for what is being revealed inside. And maybe you feel something similar? Did you recognize something of your own in these dreams? Do you have any guesses or personal interpretations? Share them in the comments. I'm genuinely interested to hear your feedback. Leave your comments, like the video, and hit the bell so you don't miss the next story. It will be interesting to hear your opinion.